We are going to see some very interesting things this afternoon. We're going to try to take as little time as we can of yours. There's been an ongoing issue ever since I came to Blackford County 45 years ago, what we call anecdotally, by word of mouth, by rumor, that there's something going on in Blackford County so far as some serious cancer issues and also issues of neurological disease and other kinds of really unusual diseases. I heard it from the time I first came here 45 years ago. And then when I became mayor the first time, taking office in 1984, a very fine friend of mine who was the holdover Republican city councilman, Dick Grady, was very helpful to me, even though he was of the opposite party, and as he and I used to laugh, the newspapers always said, the lone Republican. Came down with a brain tumor and passed away. And again, it came up. Gee, it seems like we have so much of this, and gee, it seems like we have so many strangely rare varieties of things like this. I've heard it ever since I've lived here. Both terms as mayor, I can tell you how we dealt with the environment. During my first term from 84 to 88 was when the first implementation of permitting and registration with the EPA and IDEM. IDEM actually came into existence coincidentally with when I took office in 84. And their duties passed off from the Department of Health in Indiana to a separate environmental department. During that term and my second term from 2000 to 2004, local industries, to the best of my knowledge, have always followed permitting, have always obeyed the rules, have always reported when I was mayor to the city when there was an issue, which they're required to do by law, and those issues were always rectified. Just the same, as you're going to see this afternoon, that doesn't mean there's not issues. Compliance with regulations doesn't mean there's not been latent issues. And we have a whole period of time that preceded the 1980s when implementation of regulations came in. That Blackford County was industrialized for a century. And one of the things we're going to try to do is not worry about finding out something just to say, see, there it is, that's who did it. No, what we want to do is we want to make sure that people who have been sick, who are sick now, have a way to assure their future health and maybe get well. We want to find out if you grew up here or if you've lived here for a long time and not left, where and why you should be concerned about possibly contracting something and what you can do about it. This is a positive public health meeting. That reminds me, please put your cell phones on either vibrate or silent. And if you do have a phone or a call that you need to take, please step out in the hall to take it if you would. Okay? We understand sometimes you get emergency calls, but if you step out in that hallway and take it, perfectly okay. If you need to leave for some reason, we don't mind if people come and go as they need to come and go. Let us know. Let us know how to reach you by email or some other way. And please tell us how to keep in touch. You're going to be getting some information about websites. We don't want to go into a lot of detail about, oh, well, this company did that, or these people did this, or we heard about that this afternoon, but we'll give you places to find out specifics, where you can find out exactly what you want to know about certain situations. And I'm going to tell you also that while those of us who have been here all these years have been concerned about this and had questions, comes up socially, comes up all the time, the impetus for all of this goes to two young ladies who have, one of them happens to be my daughter, my middle child, and it's because they live elsewhere, but they, because of social networking and other things, constantly hear about the disease situation here and the things that people are coming down with and getting very ill with. So I'm going to introduce my daughter Kathy and her friend and classmate Kathy Dunsmore and let them take it from here, and then they'll be introducing Jesse, who is from the Hoosier Environmental Council and has been very helpful in this. And what we're going to talk about today are facts. We're not going to talk about speculation. And we're going to try to talk about some of the things that you need to think about and carry away with you. Thank you again very much for coming.
Hi, yes, I'm Kathy, Dad. And as many of you know, I now live in Washington, D.C., but it is true. Born and raised here, and this is my home, and this will always be my home. And as he said, through the years, even for me, I've heard cases of people we've lost in this community, friends of mine, family members of mine. And it really is Facebook, actually, is where I started noticing more and more of it. It became more of a regular thing, someone asking us to pray for somebody else who had been diagnosed, or for someone else that was battling cancer, or for somebody else that we lost from this community. And it was actually Leah Pace, who's here today on Facebook, who posted the Facebook question of, does anyone else think there's a high rate of cancer in Blackford County? And the truth is when she posted that, the significant answer was yes. We had an overwhelming number of people who said the same thing. So a group of us got together and started a Facebook page called the Blackford County Cancer Action Group, and within days we had a couple hundred people who joined us on that site and came together. And again, an overwhelming number of stories of people sharing of how they have been touched by cancer in this community. There's